In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how you can create a very compelling visual hook. Essentially, we're going to be mixing up a lot of things together, like camera movements, text animations, light leaks. So after you watch the tutorial, your reels will look so much better. So that being said, let's get straight into Adobe After Effects. Alright, we're back in software. Here we got the comp settings. Let's hit OK. And essentially, whenever I'm editing, I always start with the text. So I'm just going to grab the type tool. And let's type in create. I'm gonna recenter, and today we're gonna use something different than Montserrat. We're gonna go with Bolby 1SC. So I'm just gonna scale it down a bit like that, and let's put it somewhere here. I'm also gonna recenter the anchor point, and this is gonna be our base. So essentially we need to add some animations to that text. So now we wanna click on that little arrow. So we're gonna open it up, go to position, let's click on this. And for now, let's leave the values, and we're just gonna head over to add, and we're gonna pick something different, which is opacity. Here we're gonna change it to 0%. And the next thing we want to do is go back to add property, and we're also going to pick scale. And we need one more value, which is basically blur. Apart from that, we also need to head over to the range selector 1, and we're going to open up advanced. Here you want to change the shape from square to ramp up, and also we're going to bump up islow to 100%. Now in order to animate it, we need to make sure to set offset to -100%, click on the keyframe, move forward, and change it to 100%. So that way we're gonna have an animation like that. So we're just gonna extend it for a slower movement. And then before you change any of the values in order to actually animate it, we're gonna duplicate that layer. So just hit Ctrl D and move it to the side. We're gonna use it later on. As for our first text, I would like to use scale. So I'm gonna set the scale over here to 0%, and let's check it out. So this is already looking extremely smooth. We're also gonna turn on the motion blur right off the bat, and I'm gonna probably just make it a tiny bit faster. Alright, so now we're ready to actually create another text. So I'm just gonna duplicate that layer over here, and we're gonna bring it closer. So now this is our backup, and we're gonna be working with that one. So let's move it lower, just like that. And what I'm gonna do is change the name to clean. Alright, this text is gonna be bigger, so I'm just gonna bump up the font size, maybe even more, something like that should do. Then I'm gonna recenter and drag it lower. So what you want to do is basically have it aligned over here. So that should be good enough. And then we're going to grab the rectangle tool, and we're just going to make sure that the clean layer is selected, and we're going to kind of cut out that text. So just check it out. You want to go for something like that, and then hit F and bump up the feather. And if you hit inverted, you're going to get that nice shadow over here. So essentially this effect is going to give us a little bit of depth. So it kind of looks like it's 3D. So yeah, we're just going to leave it like that. So now we need to animate that text a little bit better because it looks quite boring. So I'm just gonna go over here. Let's go to text, animator 1, and we're gonna change the position this time. So I'm gonna set the white position to -50. And now it's gonna look like it's revealing from behind the text. Alright, but now I'm gonna work on the timing a bit. Maybe like that. Yeah. I feel like we're good with the movement, and now what we're gonna do is create a controller for these two. So essentially what you wanna do is just right click, go to new, null object, and we're gonna rename it to controller 1. I'm gonna drop it in between these two layers. We're gonna select number 3 and number 4, and we're gonna parent it with the pick whip to controller 1. It's already looking interesting, but we're gonna make it more appealing by adding a little bit of movement, not a lot. So I'm gonna hit P on the keyboard, create a keyframe for position, and we're gonna move back, and we're just gonna drag Y position. So now we got something like that, which is looking extremely stiff. So we need to select both keyframes and hit F9. Now if I go to the graph editor, I just want to create a shallow peak on the left. Alright, this movement is looking quite good, but I feel like it's too intense, so we're just gonna drag that Y position lower. I mean that initial keyframe. And yeah, that extra little touch in the form of the movement is making a lot of difference here. So now we're gonna overlap the movement over here. So what you wanna do is duplicate controller 1, hit U, delete the last keyframe, and parent 1 to 2. Now I'm gonna move it forward, and we kind of want to slide it away to the right. So we're just gonna play around with X position, and we're gonna make sure that the graph is nice. Okay, it's looking good. I'm gonna probably just drag it more towards the left. So now since we got this movement overlapped, it's looking extremely good because it hasn't finished the movement going downwards and it's already being pulled to the right. We might also even speed it up just like that. And then what you want to do is select these two layers, and we're going to add opacity keyframes. Now let's move forward and change it to 0. So now it's gonna nicely fade away, and we're gonna be able to introduce another text. So our another text is gonna be this one, so we need to duplicate it, and we're gonna drag it over here, and let's make it a bit bigger. So this time I'm gonna change the name to intro. This is already looking really good, but we're gonna play around with the position in our animation. So I'm gonna open it up, go to text, animator 1, and what you wanna do is set X position to -50. So let me just do that. And that way that text is gonna be sliding in from the left without even adding any position keyframes. So if you time it properly, it's gonna look absolutely fire. So I'm just gonna squeeze it in and then offset it a bit. Now we need our last layer over here, so you don't really need to duplicate it. And then I'm just gonna drag it lower and I'm gonna type in for your video. Let's make sure we're around here, and we're just gonna select the whole text and I'm gonna decrease the font size. All right, let's place it like that. And then we're just gonna play around with the settings over here. So let's open it up, go back to animator 1. And what you wanna do is set position to -50. I mean Y position. Then I'm gonna open up range selector 1. And now what we wanna do is head over to advanced, and we're gonna change based on characters to word. So that way the full word is gonna reveal instead of each character, which is looking pretty good. I'm just gonna make sure that the timing is right. So we're gonna push it back. Then what you wanna do is select the last layer, and we're gonna do the same thing as before. So we're gonna grab the rectangle tool, and we're just gonna cut out the upper part of the text. I'm gonna hit F, and I'm gonna bump up the feather to around 30. And that way we got that extra depth, even though it's 2D. Then I'm just gonna go to the controller 1, and I'm gonna probably make it a bit smaller over here. And let's see. Yeah, probably a bit better. So now what you wanna do is select the first layer over here, hold shift, select this one, and we're gonna pre-compose them. I'm gonna rename the layer to text. And now instead of only imitating 2D, we're gonna introduce 3D. So in order to do so, I'm gonna right click, go to new, camera, and you wanna pick 35mm preset. Also, you can leave to node camera and hit OK. I'm gonna preferably drop it lower. And what you wanna do is create a new null object. So this time this is gonna be our another controller, but this time it's gonna be camera controller. Then I'm gonna select these two, and I'll just change the color for clarity, and let's parent camera to cam control 1. Now make sure to turn on the 3D, and we need to create a separation between the text and our video. So I'm just gonna show it to you over here. I'm gonna open up second view, and I'm just gonna select our video, hit P, and with that value over here, with Z position, I'm gonna move it away. Not a lot. Then I'm gonna scale it up to fill out the whole frame. So that's how it should look. And I'm gonna close down the second view. So now select cam control 1 and hit P and create a keyframe. Now I'm gonna move to the very beginning, and I'll just zoom in. I'm gonna hit F9 and let's see the movement. Alright, so this is looking nice, but what I would like to do is just take these two and go to the graph editor. I'm gonna squeeze the pic towards the left, and this is a nice sharp movement in the beginning. I'll probably make it even sharper. Now we're gonna go back, and what you wanna do is basically the same thing as before, which is duplicating the cam control, hitting U, deleting the last keyframe, and parenting 1 to 2. I'm gonna move this forward, and essentially now instead of zooming out, we're gonna zoom in. So I'm just gonna play around with Z position, and you can notice it here, that 3D depth. So this is a pretty cool effect. I'm gonna select these two keyframes, go to the graph editor, and we might also hit F9. You can always fit the graph over here, and then it's easier to see. Now what I would like to do is just create a pig in the middle. Something like that. Right, this is very sharp, so we're gonna extend the movement. We already got a clean intro, but we're gonna take it on another level with a little bit of blur. So essentially what you wanna do is select the video and add the effect called Gaussian blur. So now create a keyframe for blurriness and move forward. We can hit U, and we're gonna bump it up to 50. So that way the background video is gonna get blurry and you'll be able to focus more on the text. Alright, so I'm just gonna extend it and hit F9 for these keyframes, probably move it back. Let's extend again, and this should be perfect. Alright, this is looking absolutely fire. Make sure to turn on the motion blur. And since we just added the blur over here, I forgot about the blur in the text. So we're gonna go back, and I actually wanted to use that blur for create text. So I'm gonna open up properties, go to text, animator 1, and here if you change the value to let's say 30, it's gonna have that blur revealing effect. So before and after. So it's also a very powerful trick over here. I'm gonna go back. We got a very cool animation already, but something that I absolutely love doing is adding a little bit of light leak in the beginning. It can be a light leak or a film burn, both are working fine. So for this, I'm gonna support myself with Pro Edit Pack, which you can find in the description. And I'm gonna go to the light leaks, HD, because we're working with vertical full HD comp. And I'm gonna go to long. Then let's grab our light leak long 1 on the timeline. And essentially what we need to do is head over to modes, and we're gonna pick screen. So now we need to work on the timing, so whenever the full screen is covered, we're gonna make sure that this is right in the beginning. So that extra light leak is always something that can make your video stand out from others. Extremely clean and minimalistic, and I think we're gonna leave it at that. Hopefully you enjoyed the tutorial, make sure to check out the video on the screen, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers guys.